Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Adam, and again, we're going to be talking about a really hot topic right now, which is Nikola and the whole report by Hindenburg. So pretty much what happened, Hindenburg first came out with a scathing report, like a 54-pager, saying how Nikola is pretty much built up on a bunch of misrepresentations, misleading, and false information. And as a response to that, over the week, the stock has been dropping from like 48, now it's like at $32, down 30%. And pretty much Nikola came out with the response, and the price of the stock actually jumped by like, 12%. But again, Nikola's response, they only addressed like 10 of of Hindenburg research concerns. Um, and in fact, since that, Hindenburg Research replied saying that we view Nikola's response as a tacit admission of securities fraud, and the response from the stock today was down 8%, another 6% after hours, so close to 15% if you add in the decimals here, of how investors reacted to this info. So again, we'll see that it's pretty inadequate response that Nikola gave, right? So first off, all the highlighted things are the most important things. Also, excuse my audio. If you can't hear me that well, I'm trying to speak up. But again, I'm just trying to first monetize the channel, and then I'll be able to pay for the mic, etc., in order to make my YouTube videos better. But anyways, I hope you enjoy, and if you do, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Okay, so let's get right into it. So first, Nikola failed to address 43 of our 53 questions in the initial report, and I'll link the initial report below as well as this response below in the description. Of those it touched on, it largely confirmed our findings or raised new questions. So first off, Nikola admitted that his deceptive Nikola One in motion video was in fact a video of the semi-truck simply rolling down a hill, which is just hilarious. When you're putting out an advertisement of, of your car, let's say you're Ford, you're putting out an advertisement, the viewer assumes that, that truck actually drives itself on its own powertrain, right? Maybe now after this whole scandal, you have to reconsider that actually trucks that are advertised don't actually power themselves. The company says that it never claimed the truck was powering itself, despite deceptive editing, and claims that it had 1,000 horsepower with sports performance. Okay, so in Monday's response, the company acknowledged that its vehicle was not functioning under its own power, and instead it was apparently simply showcasing the power of gravity, it rolling down a hill. I like the sarcasm in here already. It claimed that using the term in motion dispelled the deceptive nature of the video. Oh my gosh. Okay, we disagree. Beyond common sense, the company referred to the Nikola One as a 1,000 horsepower zero emission Nikola One semi truck. Okay. Obviously, the truck can't have 1,000 horsepower or even 1 horsepower if it doesn't power itself, right? And here is the evidence right here. You can pause and read it over. Okay. And so underneath the same video are a series of comments that were answered by Nikola's verified corporate Facebook account. Okay. Again, saying that it can handle a 7% grade no problem. Readers would have likely assumed that this is an ability for the truck to climb up a 7% grade hill, not roll down a very steep hill. Okay, again, you can see the response. And again, it's just quite comical. And another response here, which is kind of not a joke, is that so the company also told one person, wait until you drive it. It feels like a luxury car with sports performance right here. It feels like a luxury car with sports performance. It literally is just comical, even though that it can't drive itself. Okay, so given the public statement Nikola was making at the time, we view the company's new admission that the Nikola One was not powered on its own in the video as a tacit admission of securities fraud. Okay, this is going to be a recurring theme here. So, Nikola claimed blah blah blah. It then admits the truck didn't ever move using its own powertrain. As a reminder, Nikola and Trevor Milton referred to the Nikola One as a fully functional, fully built, a real truck and not a pusher at least 6 times between October 2016 and December 2016. Okay, kind of insane. So Nikola's response yesterday completely failed to address Trevor's false statements claiming that the truck fully functions and works. Wow, okay. And now, even in their response, they try to redefine the term pusher, as can be seen here. Um, and they go on to say, quite sarcastically, we appreciate that Nikola's new law firm, Kirkland and Ellis, tried to do their best with what they had to work with. But Trevor himself identified the term pusher on video, saying this isn't just a pusher like a lot of vehicles that they unveil that are just vehicles that don't actually function. This is a fully functioning vehicle, which is really incredible. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And these bullet points right here are claims that you can read by yourself in the full report that I'll link below. With that definition in mind, we offer a reminder that Nikola and Trevor reassured that investors that the Nikola One semi worked at least 6 times. And below, we can see, given Nikola's admission that the truck seen in the video was not fully functioning, the above were all clearly statements that misled investors. In other words, these were outright lies. Okay, next point, in blue. Our report, former employees told us no further work continued on the Nikola One after 2016, even though the company was still publicly claiming in 2018 that the Nikola One would soon be ready. So 2 years after they discarded the project of the Nikola One, they were still claiming that the Nikola One would be soon ready. And here is the proof and a picture to go on with it on Twitter. Oh man. Wow, note that a former employee indicated to us that the work on Nikola One was abandoned immediately after the initial reveal in December 2016. Yesterday, Nikola stated that it ultimately decided not to invest additional resources into completing the process to make Nikola One drive its own propulsion, seemingly validating our findings. Correct. So, okay, again, underlying point. Nikola's decision to ultimately halt investment is not the issue. The company's failure to acknowledge that it had halted investment while telling investors work continued is the problem and represents another clear case of making knowingly misleading statements, right? So yeah, you can't just tell investors that you're working on something and then actually you're not working on it, right? That's just outright lies. So again, our report, Nikola and Trevor hyped a letter of intent to acquire battery tech company Zapco. The tech turned out to be vaporware. After Nikola realized this, they continued to hype it anyways, right? Nikola's response was, it wasn't Zapco we were hyping. The game-changing battery tech is part of a secret R&D agreement, secret keyword, we can't provide any details on. Again, sarcasm here. Also, we are using GM's battery technology for some reason, even though our tech is much better, right? Oh my gosh. So the company originally called their battery game-changing and the biggest advancement we have seen in the battery world. Wow. In Nikola's response from yesterday, however, the tech is only now described as potentially battery tech advancements, right? So their tech advancements is relying on GM tech, pretty much. And they have potential battery tech advancements. So again, all of these are just so misleading, so false, just play on words, which is just disgusting to me, right? You can't just, I mean, investors need to do their due diligence, but still, this is just like to another level that I have never seen before, and I just want to document it because I think this is going to come out as one of the biggest frauds, in my opinion. Okay, so let's continue. Nikola entered into a letter of intent to acquire world-class battery engineering team. That is not the same thing as saying that the tech turned out to be vaporware, and even after Nikola realized this, they continued to hype it anyways. So Zapco was later accused by Nikola of fraud, false representations, and failure to disclose that its president had been indicted for tax fraud. Wow. So, okay, this is just hilarious. Nikola's own lawsuit indicated that it was made aware of these issues on December 5th, 2019, and we noted that Trevor continued to hype the company's battery tech into February 2020. So, a bunch of months after they already sued Zapco. Okay. Nikola formally terminated the agreement on February 26, 2020, and appears not to have publicly discussed the situation since until yesterday. So a recurring theme is just lawyers getting involved and nothing really being solved. which is, once lawyers are involved, there's just a bunch of red flags going on. So it goes without saying that funding academic research is not the same thing as acquiring a team of engineers, as the original game-changing announcement indicated. Okay? And so the newly referenced academic partnership appears to have been first talked about in August 2020. And pretty much we asked Nikola to provide agreements and documents that supported the supposed secret partnership. And we asked, which university were you working with on the battery tech? How much did you fund them with? And exactly what have you developed in conjunction with them? And how do they respond? We are met with more vague answers. And again, of course, the confidential R&D relationship. And no indication of when it began. Next point, our report. Trevor claimed to have reduced the cost of hydrogen by about 81% relative to peers and was producing 1,000 kilos of hydrogen per day at Nikola's headquarters. Nikola's response confirmed that none of this happened. Nikola continues to believe that its planned hydrogen station network will provide key competitive advantages. Potential, continues, planned, will. All future-looking statements that are just highly misleading, right? And again, at Nikola World in December 2019, Trevor claimed on video that Nikola was producing 1,000 kilos of hydrogen a day on site as his Phoenix headquarters. In America, we've already got the largest hydrogen station in the Western Hemisphere at our headquarters. Can produce over 1,000 kilos a day on site. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Another interview with Fox Business in August 2020. We saw an opportunity. This is Trevor Milton. Trevor Hilton, rolling down the hill. We saw an opportunity to bring the cost of hydrogen down, going zero emission and putting it on parity with diesel. And it's the first time in history that that's been able to be done. So it went from about 16 per kilogram and we're down to $4 a kilo, which is huge. But of course, that didn't happen. In another interview, okay, you know what? Need I go on Tesla Charts podcast, Trevor claimed Nikola had been able to chop the cost of hydrogen from 16 kilos. We're down below 3 kilos. So it went from 4 kilos even to 3 kilos. So just even more lies right now and even more claims here. We have 8 stations going up right now to be announced soon once land is finalized surrounding them. Okay. So again, these go on to show how Trevor's claim are just insubstantiated and how their hydrogen stations are going up right now. But again, as you can see here, it has no hydrogen network, bolded in green, and simply hopes to have one in the future. It hopes to have one in the future. This is just hilarious. This once again strikes us as a tacit admission of securities fraud. Okay, next point. Our report, Trevor Milton falsely claimed in 2020 that 5 Nikola trade trucks were coming off the assembly line right now. Hot and ready, coming off the assembly line right now, right? Bloomberg corroborates. The assembly line isn't finished. Nikola's response tacks a year and a half onto Trevor's publicly disclosed right now achievement, saying it doesn't expect the trade until Q4 2021. So again, we showed in our report that none of the trucks have been completed and that the assembly line itself had not been completed. And Bloomberg has since once confirmed our work writing, and you can read this again by yourself. On Friday, in response to our report, Trevor tweeted pics of unfinished Nikola trade trucks in a work area that is clearly not an assembly line. In its response on Monday morning, Nikola stated, 5 trucks are currently being built and commissioned in Ulm, Germany, and are pre-production builds. And so this confirmed our original report, including comments quoted by Bosch spokesperson. Okay, and again, you can read this here, but I'll just read this highlighted point. We view this once again as an admission that Trevor's statement to investors in July was patently false. Not only were completed trucks not rolling off an assembly line, but an assembly line hadn't even been constructed. Oh my goodness, guys, this is freaking hilarious. The trucks remain uncompleted. Now, this is, to me, this was incredibly funny. That's why I put asterisks around it. Our report, Nikola's order book is fluff, including a 3.5 billion order from a company with only 1.3 million in cash. Nikola's response, we have ordered from a different company that we hope to begin deliveries on in 3 years. Okay, you can't make this stuff up, guys. You cannot make this stuff up. So we showed that US Express reportedly accounts for a third of Nikola's reservations, representing a $3.5 billion in orders. Yet US Express only have 1.3 million in cash on hand last quarter. 1.3 million in cash on hand last quarter. Clearly can pay for $3.5 billion in Nikola trucks that can roll down hills. Okay, and so Monday morning, the company failed to address the issue and simply reiterated that it had an order from another company, Republic Services, that it hopes to begin deliveries on 3 years from now. So basically, we view this as an admission that the company's order book was, in fact, filled with fluff. Okay, okay, we're getting to the end of this. Okay, next point. Our report. The company's unveiling of its NZT off-road vehicle deceptively presented a mock-up as if it was market-ready. Following the unveiling, the project was then outsourced for redesign. Nikola responded by rewording our statements and then declaring the reworded statements to be false. You can read this by yourself. It's again, it's just another hilarious point. So Nikola failed at the end. Nikola failed to refute our point that it presented yet again a not functional mock-up of the NZT at Nikola World. We believe this represents a tacit admission that its NZT reveal was a farce. Okay, and again, you can read all this here. Oh my gosh. So next point, our report. Why would Trevor appoint his brother as director of hydrogen production / infrastructure? Sounds pretty big, given he had no apparent experience in hydrogen tech. Nikola's response. Travis Milton ran a construction business. Wow. Okay. In our report, we noted that Trevor Milton appointed his younger brother Travis to a position that required scientific expertise. We asked, why did you appoint your brother Travis as director of hydrogen production and infrastructure? What experience does he have in hydrogen research and production? And we asked also, what would you say are Travis's key contributions, etc., etc.? The company responded on Monday by claiming that Travis is qualified for this high-level scientific position because he previously worked in construction. Travis Milton previously owned and operated his own construction company, preparing him for hydrogen station infrastructure and build-outs. Clearly, that having a background in construction clearly prepares you for a high-tech position, operating hydrogen and storing hydrogen. Okay, wow. And then this is just our question to the company concerned Travis's contribution to Nikola's claimed hydrogen breakthroughs and his experience with his significant tech and scientific challenges of hydrogen production, storage, and delivery, right? So this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and Travis's brother's experience in construction doesn't seem to fit with extensive knowledge needed or surrounding hydrogen production, storage, and delivery. So those questions remain completely unanswered. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Our report. Trevor claimed on video that Nikola's inverters were developed in-house, etc., etc. In the same video, he is showcasing an inverter manufactured by Cascadia, not Nikola, with masking tape covering its label. Nikola's response. Admits that this is true, then deflects by vaguely stating that the company has been working on its own inverters for quite some time. Again, another common theme, there are always a potential breakthrough in battery technology, but then partner with GM, working on its inverters for quite some time, but not really getting, anything out of it, putting up their hydrogen power stations, and it's having their trade trucks on the assembly line going out right now, but assembly line isn't even on the frick. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just continue with this point again. In the same video, Trevor shows off an inverter that we discovered is actually manufactured by Cascadia with a piece of masking tape on the label that concealed who really made it. The company once again admitted that the claims in our report to be true and walked back its claims that these inverters were Nikola's proprietary intellectual property by vaguely stating that it is working on its own inverters. Nikola has been designing, engineering, and working on its inverters for quite some time. Oh my gosh. And another company CEO, Mark Russell, further walked back on the company's claims to have vast proprietary tech, right? Okay. So, asked about Mr. Milton's claims to have all the core tech for his vehicles, Mr. Russell described the company as an integrator, stitching together the many elements of its vehicles from a complex supply chain. So Russell's admission clearly corroborates our own findings and directly contradicts Trevor's repeated claims of Nikola having vast proprietary intellectual knowledge. Oh my gosh. Okay, but of course, Nikola ignores the fact that there is video proof narrated by Milton himself, which is clearly stating opposite of what Nikola's rebuttal was. Okay, we do all the e-axle design in-house, all the gears, gear reductions, the thermal, and the cooling, even the controls that go along with it. And here's the bullet part here, which is most interesting, and also the inverters as well. All inverters on the Nikola truck are probably some of the most advanced software systems that I know of anywhere in the automotive world. Why don't I know that? Because other OEMs are asking to use it. And here you can see masking tape right here covering that. It's not Nikola's, it's Cascadia's. As a, Nikola Cascadia, same thing, right? Oh my gosh, why would OEMs be asking to use an inverter that hadn't even been developed? Furthermore, Trevor actually points to the supposed in-house inverter in question in the video. Wow. Okay, once again, the company admitted our findings were correct. Now, rather than defending its previous false claims to have developed revolutionary proprietary tech for use in its vehicles and prototypes, Nikola now vaguely claims to be working on it. I think this is the last point here. Our report presented evidence that Trevor misled potential investors in a predecessor entity by inflating a $16 million deal with a trucking company Swift into a $300 million deal. Nikola claims the deal could have been $250 million with options. Okay, Swift didn't exercise those options and instead sued dHybrid over misrepresentations with its original $16 million deal. In our report, we pointed out one of Trevor Milton's early business ventures, called dHybrid, closed on a $16 million contract with Swift Transportation before being sued by Swift over allegations of providing it with trucks that didn't work and of misappropriating capital for personal use. Misappropriating capital for, oh my gosh. So Nikola writes off this portion of our report by inexplicably claiming that the agreement has no connection with or association to Nikola. What? This ignores the fact that Trevor Milton was dHybrid's founder, as well as Nikola's founder, former CEO, major shareholder, and current executive chairman. Not associated with Nikola. I don't know. Nikola also points out that Swift Transportation had options to make future purchases from dHybrid for $250 million. We showed a slide from an investor presentation claiming that the contract to be $300 million, a clear inflation by the company's own standard. Okay. In reality, nowhere near $250 million changed hands. However, Swift sued dHybrid after an initial investment of about $2 million, alleging that dHybrid trucks didn't work. Similar to Nikola's, maybe. Maybe they should have rolled down the dHybrid trucks down the hill, at least for that portion of their journey, and that officers of dHybrid misappropriated capital for personal use. And then, okay, this is it. At the end of the report, I just want to say Nikola failed to address 43 of our 53 questions. And their silence on these questions speaks volumes. Okay. Despite claiming to have found dozens of inaccuracies with our report, Nikola's response essentially validated all of these issues we raised. Below are the questions Nikola did not even attempt to address. And it just keeps going on and on. Okay, and Nikola's response, none for all of them. Wow, okay. So the reason why I made this next video is because I just wanted to go through Hindenburg reports saying that Nikola's response is basically an admission of a securities fraud. We'll see what the SEC has to come out to say to this, but we'll see what happens to Nikola's stock price in the time being. And I just don't know what's going on. Again, as a disclosure, I don't have any shares in Nikola, and I don't plan to be shorting shares. I don't plan to own shares. I just think it's just so speculative right now. It's just going up and down, up and down. If you have shares, please comment below. And why do you think this whole allegation is going on? What are your thoughts? Anyways, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day.